Good day. Today I'm going to start a process. I'm looking at COS3711. I'm looking at assignment 2 and I'm looking at question 2. And it's obviously, I'm building it on a Windows 11 machine and I'm using the CMake thing. I've left this open here. As you can see, I'm saying part 1 of I don't know how many videos. The reason being is they want you to create a GUI application. I have the console version of this application, so I'm going to show you how to do the factory method in this video, and it's going to be using the console with CMake. You'll see that the program works, and then from there we need to decide how we're going to make it into a GUI app. So I just thought I'll show you what I can do for now, and then because I don't know, I'm running out of time, and I think the factory method is important for this question, and so I'm just going to show you that. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to open up my Qt creator program. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say create project. Under here it's got applications Qt. You guys will choose the Qt widgets application. I'm going to go for the console. Like I say, I have my stuff for the console. I'm saving it under my folder here, assignment 2 question 2. So that's what I'm going to call it. Okay. I'm going to click on next. I'm obviously choosing the CMake. Clicking on next. Don't need any translation kits. Because I went the long way around, I've got 2 options here, and we just want to create a desktop app with MinGW. So that's my preferred kit. Next, got my summary. You can see here it's just got CMakeLists.txt and the main CPP file. So I click on finish. Okay, so this is the start of it. Sure, seems to have saved all the files already, but I will make sure it goes back to scratch. Okay, I managed to restore it. So if you have a look, go to my CMake list file, you'll see I've just got a plain main CPP file, and over here is also the basics of the main. Alright, and then I've got my assignment 2 question 2 over here. You can see the files. So what I've got to do is I've now got to add the class. So the first class that I want to add is stock. So I'm going to go to file, say new file, and then I'm going to say C++ class. I'm going to say choose, and then over here I'm just going to call it stock. Okay. You can see it's adding the header and the source files here, but what happens is you'll see there's a message that comes up and it says files are not automatically added to the CMakeLists.txt file of the CMake project. Copy the path to the sources files to the clipboard. So I say yes over here, and then what happens is I go back to the CMake list and I just put it on the next line and say Control V, and then it adds it. So what happens now is you'll see that it's missing from this section even though they're here, and so as soon as you close it and you say save all, you'll see CMake automatically puts them in this top portion over here. So I've got the stock H file and the stock CPP file. Those are my first files that I'm going to work on. Okay. Something I've forgotten to actually do is even just read through the question. So this is the question. It says question 2, and it says write a GUI application that implements the classes that will be used to keep stock for a small corner store that sells only confectionery and reading material. For each item you will track 2 things: what it is and how many items you have in stock. The derived classes will add 1 appropriate data member of their own. Use the UML class diagram below to assist you. Note that you should not be able to instantiate the stock class. This is, you should not be able to create an object or instance of the stock class. So it's got a stock, and then it's got an item of type QString and a quantity of integer. Okay, and then you've got all your methods or your functions, your getters and your setters, and your constructors. Okay. Then you've got your other class of confectionery and reading material, and the confectionery has a variable of weight of data type int, and the reading material has a variable of frequency of data type QString. Alright, so what it says is, when a user chooses to add an item from the menu, use the factory method design pattern to return a pointer to either a confectionery or reading material object from the data entered by the user. The factory method should take a QString as an argument indicating what type of item is required, as well as the data used to construct this specific object. Note that the factory method should have only the create stock function. However, the objects that it has to create, although they both have 3 arguments, are made up of different data types. Solve this problem in the simplest possible way. And then it says here, you should then be able to do something similar to the following. Although this is not entirely correct, as the 2 signatures of the create stock function differ, they should be the same. So it's got a stock factory SF, stock pointer variable C1, and then your SF dot create stock. So your stock factory creates stock, and then you say confectionery item Kit Kat 12 and 65, and then another stock of your reading material, and they've labeled it 1 equals the stock factory create stock reading material. Okay. And so when items are created, display these object status in the GUI. So this is what we're going to have to do. And so I might not get to this point of converting it to a GUI. So I'm going to show you this first portion of the factory method design pattern. Okay. And so I've just added the stock class. Okay. And so on the stock class, we want to be able to allow of type QString. So because we're going to be working with that, we're going to go to our header file, and we're going to say hashtag include. Okay, hashtag include, and we're going to say our QString. Okay, all right. Then we've got our default constructor here, and then we want another default constructor, so an overloaded constructor. So QString item int quantity. Okay, and we're going to create another getters. So it's of data type QString, and we want to say get item. And remember, our getters are always constants. We don't want to be able to make any changes on them. Then our next getter is a data type of int, and we say get quantity. And also don't forget the const. Okay, now we've got 2 voids. So we've got void set item, okay, which is our setter, and we're going to say QString I. Then we got our set quantity, and that's of integer Q. Okay, then we have a virtual function of data type QString, and we call that toString. Okay, then we're going to add two protected variables. QString is the first one of item, and the other one is integer of quantity. Okay, now we make our way over to our stock CPP file. Okay, and we've got to remember to include our header, which is fine. Then we've got our default constructor, our stock. So we're going to say item equals nothing, quantity equals 0, and then our overloaded constructor. I'm just going to copy it from here. Q, and we mustn't forget to open our brackets, and don't forget to copy our class here, stock. Okay, then the next one is our QString. Let's go back here, QString const, and don't forget to copy that. Okay, and I open and I close brackets, and basically this one is return item. Okay, next one is our get quantity. Okay, and we're going to return quantity. Void item equals I. Quantity equals Q. Okay, so that's our stock class done. So we next going to move on to an abstract factory method. And so what we're going to do there is we're going to say file, new file, and we're still going to choose C++, but instead of the class, we only want to header file. So we're going to just choose that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to call it abstract factory method. Abstract factory method. Okay, I'm going to click on next, finish. Don't forget to copy and paste it, so I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go to my make list and I'm going to add it in here. I'm going to paste that. I'm going to close it down and say save. Okay, and there it's added my abstract factory method class. Okay, I want to also just close the stock down in case something happens with this machine. It's always safer to save it. And then on the abstract factory method, we're going to have to include our stock class. So hashtag include, and we're saying stock. There we go, our stock header file. Okay, and then we've got a class, and we're saying abstract factory, abstract factory method. Okay, and in that we're going to have a virtual, and we're going to say virtual stock, and our pointer, we're going to say create stock. That's going to be of type Q string, and we're saying stock type. Okay, then Q string of I, then int of Q for quantity, and then Q string more, and that's all equal to 0. Okay, and that's our abstract factory class, so we can save that. Okay, and the next thing we're going to move on to is the setup of our confectionery class. Okay, so let's go and add that. So we're going to say file, new file, I'm choosing the class. We're happy with the C++ class. Click on choose, and then this is confectionery, so confectionery. Alright, don't forget we've got to copy and paste our thing into our CMake list file. So we are here. Okay, close it down, say save all. Okay, and then now you can see it's got the 2 confectionery files here. For the confectionery one, we're going to also include our stock, our stock.header file. Okay, and our class of confectionery is going to be a subclass of stock. So we put here public and then stock. Okay, and then we've got our default constructor, and then we want to create our overloader constructor. So I'm just going to actually copy that, I'm going to paste it back down here, and then we're going to have Q string I int Q and int W. Okay, and then we're going to also have our getters, so int get weight, and don't forget our constant, we're not making any changes, and then void set weight, type int W. Okay, and then Q string to string and const. So now we go to our private variables, and we've got int weight. Okay, so that's our confectionery header file done. Confectionery CPP file, as you can see, it includes our confectionery header, and there's our default constructor. So for our default constructor, I'm just going to put here stock, and we're going to say unknown, and we're going to say 0. Okay, and then we're going to set the weight is going to be 0. Okay, then our overload constructor, I'm just going to copy this part. And this is going to be Q string I, int Q, and int W. And we're going to have stock and I and Q, and then the weight W. Okay, I'll open and close brackets. Then we're going to get our getter. Going to return weight, and then our setter. Finally our toString. Okay, so that's our confectionery done. Now I'll save that, and I want to save that. Okay, and the next thing we're going to move on to is our reading material. So we're going to go File, New File, C++, C++ class, choose that, and we're choosing reading material. Reading material. Next, finish, yes, don't forget to add them. Okay, close our CMake list, and there it is. We've got reading material and reading material. As with the previous confectionery, we've got to include our stock. So hashtag include and our stock.header. Okay, and our reading material is also a subclass of stock. So we say public stock. Okay, and then oops, here we go. We have our overload constructor, and that is of type Q string I int q string f. Okay, then we've got our getter q string get frequency, and make sure it's a constant, don't want it changing, and then our setter void set and then frequency. Okay, and that's of q string and f, and then our to string. And we got our private. How does it do that? Private, and that's of data type q string and frequency. Okay, so we've got our header file, and the next we're going to go into is our implementation file. There we go. We're going to just copy this quickly. Okay, and I'm going to change this to stock unknown. Unknown and 0. And we're going to set our frequency to unknown. Then for this reading material, the overloader, q string I int q string f, and we've got stock IQ frequency f, and we got our open and close brackets. Okay, then we're going to go to this one, and we want these. Right, return frequency. Frequency equals f, and we just rather do a q string return reading material plus item plus quantity plus q string number quantity plus comma frequency plus frequency. Okay, so that is our reading materials. We're now going to create our final class, and we're going to call this class stock factory. Stock factory. Okay. Yes, we want it copied. We want to go here. We're going to go Control V, close it, save all. Okay, and there we got our stock factory header. Okay, and our stock factory header is going to include the abstract factory method header file. Okay, and our stock factory class is a subclass of public abstract factory method. There we go. We got our stock factory, and we've got stock pointer and create stock, and this is of Q string stock type Q string I int Q string more. Okay, that's our stock factory header, and if we go to our stock factory implementation file, you can see it's including the stock factory header, but we also wanted to include our confectionery header file, and we also wanted to include our reading materials header file. Okay, and we've got our default constructor, which we're happy with, and the next one is our stock. So let's go back there. Let's go and generate this. If our stock type is equal to confectionery, then return new confectionery item I Q more to int. Okay, else if the stock type equals reading material, then return new reading material and IQ more. Else return null. Okay, and that is all our classes defined. Okay, so then the final piece of the puzzle is to get our console application working. I'm going to just show 2 examples as what he's given us, and yeah. Okay, so there's going to be quite a few includes here. I'm going to include a Q list. Okay. I'm going to include a Q file. Oops. Now what's happening with this Q file? And I'm going to include a Q string list. And then finally the Q text stream. Include Q text stream. Okay. And then we need our header file. Hashtag include stock factory header. Alright, and then what I did was I commented out all of this. Okay, and I just said int main. Okay, and over here I said Q text stream. Okay, and I've got my C out as std out, and then I've created my stock factory, okay, as the SF as per what's shown on that assignment over here. And then I've also gone and I've literally just copied these two codes in. Like that. And instead of having it on multiple lines, I just made sure it goes on one. Like that. And then I've created a C out, and I said C dot, and then it comes up with an option. No, wait, it's C1 dot, and then I've put the to string here, and the new format is QT and L. Okay, and the same here. C out and say rm1 dot to string, same qt and l. Okay, that's strange, why is it adding those? Okay, and l, and then over here where it had return a exec, I just put return 0. Okay, and that should be all my code. So I'm going to close this down. And so nothing is open. I'm going to click on run, and I should see it running in the console. At the moment it's giving me an error. That error has got to do with this last variable. It doesn't like this int, so if I just click on that and I save it, let's go for it, see if it picks up any other errors. I see I forgot to add a Q over here, so that's one of the other errors that it's picking up. And so let's close that and see if it's happy. Yes, there we go. I don't know if you know, but on the thing what happens is it mostly comes up here, and it's got to come out to this console. So I just chose application output, and then it shows me that console, but it looks like it's happy. So I hope this has been informative and helpful. Thank you for watching. All the best with COS3711. Thank you and goodbye.